Welcome to another edition of Win TV. I'm your host, Denise Rolark Barnes, and I'm so glad to be with you, publisher of the Washington Informer. So that's why we have Washington Informer News, WIN TV. For those who are new and watching, we welcome you to the show. And of course, we love welcoming our guests that kind of show up all the time. We really appreciate you. So yeah, Georgia's still on my mind. We are still celebrating. I know members of the Congressional Black Caucus will be sworn in, I think January the 5th here in DC. And there's a whole new class of members of the CBC, including our new, one of the senators from Georgia, and that's Ralph. Oh God, how did I just forget? I am so sorry. I'm having one of those moments. But at any rate, our new senator from Georgia. And as much as we have tried to get him, work to get him elected, we are just so proud that Georgians came out in big numbers and proved that despite all that people may be putting in our paths to make voting more difficult, the voters in Georgia still stepped up, stepped out, and voted and got Ralph Warnock. I was just trying to talk it through till it came back to get Ralph Warnock elected to office. So we're looking forward to meeting him, to interviewing him over he'll be in the Senate for 6 years. But some of the other new members of the CBC and some who are going to be chairing some very powerful committees. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on with our national reporter, Stacey Brown. I hope you picked up a copy of this week's Washington Informer. You know, I always like to show you the print edition. It is up and out on the streets. And we are going to talk a little bit about what we featured in the paper this week. But you can also get a copy of the Informer if you go to www.washingtoninformer.com and get the Washington Informer there. You got the digital edition, plus you can read all the other news that we produce on a daily basis for our readers on our website. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit share so your followers can follow the broadcast. We always like to have new followers. And if you're watching on Twitter, be sure to follow us as well, and we'll follow you back. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Washington Informer TV. Again, that's one word, Washington Informer TV. On Facebook, we're Washington Informer. And Twitter, TikTok, IG, we're Washington Informer. And we're also Washington Informer on LinkedIn. So all you have to do is remember Washington Informer, and you can find us and hopefully communicate with us and enjoy some of the news that we share used to be once a week, but that we share every single day. So speaking of this week's issue, excuse me, of the Informer and the coverage that we did, you know, the U.S.-Africa Summit wrapped up yesterday. And so we have several stories. I'm going to say a whole lot, but we have several stories in this week's issue and on our website. It was quite a phenomenal event. We had somewhere between, I'd say, 42 and 50 African heads of state here in Washington, D.C. I know lots of people were inconvenienced because of the blockades that took place downtown around the Washington Convention Center. And it's fascinating how few people knew what was going on in that building. But when you have presidents of countries from the African continent, they had to do their best to try to keep the area safe. And it was just amazing to see so many journalists from the continent that were here to cover the impact of this summit on their country. So as you all may have heard in President Biden's speech, he has pledged $55 billion to support programs on the continent, everything from education to infrastructure and IT, you name it. But I think there are really 5 key goals. So we may have a show about that coming up as we talk to some of the leaders, African Americans who were there because of their constituency and the work that they do on behalf of the continent of Africa here in the United States. So I look forward to doing that. You know, DC's first night mayor, Sean Townsend, will take over as president and CEO of the Restaurant Association of Metropolitan Washington, the regional trade association that represents the DC area's food industry. And I'll go back to that in just a minute, but we are happy to see that he is moving up in the administration. And also, well, CEO is an independent. Restaurant Association is an independent organization, but it needs great leadership because, the restaurant industry in the District of Columbia really was badly impacted by COVID and is still suffering from that impact. So we'll be following Sean Townsend and what he'll be doing over there to assist and continue to grow the industry in the District of Columbia. DC Attorney General Carl Racine has unveiled a series of proposals he says would help create a truly independent DC Housing Authority board and address some of the problems that have plagued the embattled agency, charged with some 8,000 units of public housing across the city. And so we've heard a lot of complaints about public housing, the conditions of the housing, what the residents are going through. So this agency, I'm sure, is meant or intended to address those problems. And so we will be following them, or that new agency, if it goes through as well. And America Group DC, a managed care organization serving residents in the District of Columbia, is participating in the Ward 8 Holiday Toy Giveaway. This event is for Ward 8 residents only. So those interested in participating must register in advance. And the registration information is below, so you can take a look at that. But otherwise, you can go to www.ward8toys.com. www.ward8toys.com. So they'll be providing toys for children from ages 0, so newborns, to 17. So go ahead and take advantage of that so that you can put a smile on a young person's face this holiday season. And households can register up to 4 children. The only thing you need to do is to have proof of residency and an ID. So as long as you have proof of residency and an ID, you can go and participate in this Ward 8 Holiday Toy Giveaway. It's Friday, y'all. It's time for Christmas and Kwanzaa and all that. So I'm having a little bit of mouth issues here, trying to get my words together. But today we're going to talk to Nicole Footman Kirkendall. I want to say Kirkendall, but she'll help me to pronounce it correctly, who is the creator of the Black Holiday Trivia Game. We were trying to talk to Nicole last week, but we were having some technical problems. But she's here with us today, and we look forward to talking to her, along with Malachi Robinson, Director of Creative Suitland, and Rena Turner, the organization's program manager, who'll talk to us about a Kwanzaa program this weekend. So it's not too early to get ready for Kwanzaa. We're going to talk a lot about that. And we hope that Santa Stuart will be joining us today to talk about his delivery schedule. He has been really busy. I know over here east of the river, but some other places, Santa Stuart has been on a roll. So he said he would stop by just to check with us or chat with us for a few minutes. So we're looking to see him later on. And then we have pre-recorded a few conversations that will run after our live programming. I had the pleasure of, and so did our managing editor, Micha Green, of talking to Jordyn McIntosh. And Jordyn is 9 years old. She's one of the young actors in Emancipation, a must-watch film produced and acted with Will Smith. So Jordyn will talk about her experiences as an actor, playing in Emancipation and some of the other programs, films, and TV programs that she has been a part of at her early age of 9. And Brenda Siler will be talking to Carmen Lundy, who recently performed New Year's Eve, or who will be performing New Year's Eve. And so that concert's coming up. Brenda's going to do an interview with Carmen Lundy, and I look forward to hearing that. I'm going to say quickly, this morning I had the opportunity to attend the DC Chamber of Commerce breakfast. And we'll go into more about this later on as well. But the mayor released what she calls the Green Book. This is the Green Book. So if you're a small business owner in the District of Columbia and you want to do business with the District of Columbia, you've got to get your hands on this Green Book. The mayor has pledged, well, last year, it was reported that the city government agencies spent $1 billion with small and local businesses here in the District of Columbia. The mayor wants to increase that to at least $1.2 billion this year. So, having said that, this book will allow you to go through the government agencies, every government agency that's listed, and including a couple of the government partners who are listing kind of how much their budget is in spending for contracts, how much they plan to spend, what their goal is this year, and also the services that they contract for. And so the city does a lot of contracting, and this is important to get this green book. So I'm pretty sure if you don't get a hard copy, you can get a soft copy, meaning a digital copy, if you go to DimPad. I think it's DimPad. I'm sorry, giving you the wrong information. If you go to D as in David, S, I'm going to do it this way. D as in district, S as in small, L as in local, B as in business, and D as LBD, D as in district, let's say that. So www.dslbd.dc.gov. Pick up a copy of the Green Book and let's make some money this year, y'all. Also, Tanya Kinlow was announced to be the new chair of the DC Chamber of Commerce. So we look forward to having her on the show in the coming months to find out what the Chamber's mission will be this year and how it will impact or help all small businesses grow in the District of Columbia. So we look forward to hearing from her. So I'm going to take a little break, get a little bit of water, and we're going to go now to Curtis Knowles, who's going to give us our weekly news update.
This is WIN TV News, bringing you the news that matters. After 294 days in Russian custody, including the past several weeks in a dreaded and dangerous penal colony, WNBA star Brittany Griner is finally free. The Biden administration secured Griner's release after agreeing to a one-for-one prison swap that saw the president commute the 25-year sentence of notorious Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. The deal to release Griner was consummated 2 weeks ago in the United Arab Emirates. Many organizations praised the Biden administration, including the Black Press of America. Biden commented saying, quote, "After months of being unjustly detained and held under intolerable circumstances, she's coming home," and that we never stopped pushing for her release. The country of Iran was expelled from the UN Commission on the Status of Women on Wednesday after the United States called for the nation to be ousted over Tehran's, quote, "systematic oppression of women and its violent crackdown on street protests against the death of Mahsa Amini." 29 members of the UN Economic and Social Council voted in favor of a resolution put forward by the U.S. for the immediate termination of Iran from the Commission for the remainder of its 2022 through 2026 term. 8 members voted against the resolution and 16 abstained. In the wake of Amini's death, Iranian activists abroad and human rights groups called on Biden's administration to rally other countries to remove Iran from the UN Commission over its response to the protests, which have been led by Iranian women. University of Southern California quarterback Caleb Williams, a D.C. native and graduate of Gonzaga College High School in Northeast, is the 2022 Heisman Trophy winner. Williams is the first player from the D.C. region to receive the award, which is considered college football's most coveted. The announcement was made Saturday on ESPN during its annual Heisman Trophy show. Williams commented saying, quote, "I used to write down my goals in a journal, and what used to be just words on a piece of paper has me standing here today. So everyone, dreams really do come true, and thank you. Fight on."
Wow, thank you, Curtis. I am so excited about our Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he just seems like the example of what we hope so many young people will do, will be to dream big, write their dreams down, read them all the time, and make them happen. So congratulations to our Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Williams. So now we're going to move on to our guest. I have Nicole. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
There you are. Welcome to WIN TV. How are you?
I'm doing well.
And I've been butchering your last name. I am so sorry for that. But pronounce it for me again.
Kuykendall.
Kuykendall. Yes, I know a Kirkendall, which is spelled almost the same way. So I just never. My mind just wants to go to Kirkendall. But yeah, Nicole. I'm sorry. Say that again.
If you're in Texas, you pronounce it Kirkendall.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. That explains it. But I'm not in Texas, so that's no excuse. But anyway, I'm so glad we were able to get you back with us today. And and now you're gone. Oh, are you still there? There you are. Okay, I don't know what Chevy's doing, but anyway, so we're here to talk about the Black Holiday trivia game that you come up with, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So tell us about what it is and how you came up with this concept.
Yeah. So Black Holiday Trivia is a Christmas trivia card game, all centered around Black movies and music. So basically, Black culture. And what we do is we just ask you about your favorite movies, your favorite music, and really test your knowledge if you've been paying attention to everything you see every single year. One of my famous questions that I like to ask people is, who is the original singer of the song This Christmas?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I don't even remember what this Christmas is. I don't even remember the song.
Well, I'm sure you've heard it at least in the malls at least 100 times since the
Yeah.
November. And the answer is actually Donny Hathaway, who is the original singer of the song This Christmas.
And that's who I'm hearing in my head. That's
Mm,
I just didn't know the name of the song, but I'm sorry. That's why I would love to play this game. I know I will lose, but it's just going to be fun doing it. So why does it focus on Christmas and then music and movies?
Yeah, so the reason I focused it on is I was looking for a game, personally for myself, that I would really bring families and friends together. I'd like to do a lot of holiday gatherings around this time, and I didn't find anything that really spoke to Black people, our culture. Most of the games that are out there around the holiday seasons, they're celebrating a culture that simply isn't ours. They're celebrating White Christmas. We're listening to This Christmas. We listen to the Stevie Wonders and the Silent Night by the Temptations, and we're not really listening to, Bing Crosby or Judy Garland. And then the same goes for our movies. We're not watching White Christmas, and some of us may watch It's a Wonderful Life, but more often than not, we're watching The Preacher's Wife, and we're watching, This Christmas. So we have an entirely different subset around the holidays that just wasn't being celebrated or even highlighted. And so I thought, let me come up with a game first and foremost for my guests. And then that just kind of grew year after year into what it is now, which is right here, Black Holiday Trivia. So it's a cute little card game. You put it in your purse, put it in your pocket, and you just take it along to your different locations and celebrations to really just celebrate the holidays. And it's great because a lot of people say I'm not really good at trivia, but outside of, asking who sang certain songs, we also ask you things that happened in movies. So, for instance, one of the questions that I have from The Preacher's Wife is, what was a little boy's name in The Preacher's Wife? He's like the main little boy. Like, and it's so funny because we watch this movie every year. We
Mm-hmm.
but we don't remember that. And the answer is Jeremiah. So we
Okay.
things that
Nice.
happened, yeah, and all the different movies from Almost Christmas. What was the recipe Walter was trying to perfect, or Medea Christmas. What is Medea's government name? We ask you all those different things that they actually say in the movies and that we really enjoy, and just kind of have some fun with it.
Well, I think it's interesting that you said, to see what you've been paying attention to, because we do sort of go to movies unless we watch them over and over and over again, like you're talking about, and we may miss certain things, and so this helps us to kind of zone in on some of the little things that we may not like the name of a certain character.
Hmm.
It may not be the character that stands out to you, but we should know who all the characters are after we leave, and so that sounds like a lot of fun. But I want to talk to you kind of on a business side. How, what was it like putting this game together and getting it on the market? How did you do that?
It was very difficult. As you
Mhm.
know, a lot of Black game makers out there. And the far and few between, quite honestly, they had a lot of connections before they even got into game making. I've done a lot of research. So, truthfully, for me, and to find out how to even do this from the beginning as, a small, regular, small business, was I had to go to the white spaces, and I had to really go through their Reddit and their pages and really follow and emulate what they were giving as far as finding manufacturers and finding out how you're supposed to even design a game, because everything has been designed by myself, from the card deck to the cards. And that's
Mm.
that are used, programs that I had no clue how to use. So I really had to go to those white spaces and really learn from them, because in the white spaces, game making is kind of a really big hobby there, and really kind of copy and paste and then bring it over to the black space of what content that I wanted to promote. So yeah, that's where I started, and then really started doing a lot of reaching out to friends and families, to get them to play the game, to talk about it. As well know, we have a different structure when it comes to black spaces. And so our media looks a little different. We are in certain areas. And so really just finding those places and spaces where I could have game nights and talking to people and hosting events and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I can imagine that, it was a journey. And
It's
I celebrate you because you're still on the journey, because now we have the games that have to be distributed and marketed and distributed and what have you. And how's that going for you? I mean, I guess once you, hopefully after this show, you'll get lots of people who will be ordering the game, but how is it going as far as sales and interest within the community?
Yeah, sales have been good. I think it's been a more of
Mhm.
a challenge year because obviously we are in a much different year than we were last year, years prior. So as far as, finances, like that has been, I think, a little bit of a struggle. And then I think the other struggle has just been that I've noticed there's not really strong pipelines, I would say, for small businesses to the Black community. There's like a few, but as far as like really strong pipelines where a small business can get out and say, this is what I'm doing, I found that to be like a really big challenge. I also think we have the challenge of family and community has really kind of been pushed down. And that's not a Black thing. That's just an American thing. We're a highly
Mhm.
individualistic. Oh, I'm sorry. We're a highly individualistic country, and so coming up with something that encourages community, I think is a foreign in some areas. Obviously, Black
Mhm.
community, we've always been really on community. But I think when you start to say, have friends over or have family over, especially post pandemic, that's been a little bit of a challenge. So I do hope that we this Christmas, we do really play the game and celebrate. I think it's also important for me to say that I think there's been an idea of culture that has been co-opted by larger media, non-Black media corporations. They're dictating what the culture is. That culture to them is in alignment with the likes of rappers or celebrities, and that's not culture. Culture is movies, culture is music, culture is how we move and operate our language, and getting people to understand that Black culture does not exist only in February, and it doesn't exist only in Juneteenth, and it doesn't exist only with Kwanzaa. It exists 24/7. And having that be highlighted and having people recognize that, I think has been great. People recognizing, wow, we do have a separate Black Christmas culture, but also
Oh,
teaching
yeah.
people to see the value of it has been integral too.
Right, right. No, I mean, you said a mouthful there. It's a lot, and I would say, agree with most of what you said. So the thing about these games, there's you want to win, right? So how do you win this game?
Yeah. So every question is worth 1 point. But then we also have some questions that are worth 2 points, some of them were 3 points. We call them super questions. And so what you do is you break into teams. We highly encourage people to be on like multi-generational teams because we have questions that go from the 2018s all the way back, to the 1940s. So depending on what your generation is, you're going to be stronger when you have a multi-generational team. So put grandma with the grandchild together. That's a stronger team. And then you just
Yeah.
play against whoever. You can do a game host, and whoever has the most points wins.
Okay, all right. I mean, it seems to me too now, see, because you got me thinking, and there's some movies I probably need to do some sneak previewing on before I play the game, and some music I probably need to listen to before, so that I won't be the weakest link
Well,
on the team.
that's
Do
great.
you do that? Do you
Like,
have a list of recommendations?
yeah, every Black movie that's come out in theaters is in the game. We're talking
Okay.
almost Christmas. This Black Christmas movie that has come out in theaters is in the game. And then for music, every Black Christmas song you can get to Macy's, Kohl's, any store, and here is in the game too. From Michael Jackson, Run DMC, Boys to Men, The Temptations, all of them are in the
Wow.
game. So it's
Okay.
very interesting because people I wouldn't know. but truthfully, this is our culture. So you're gonna know at least some because
Yeah.
this is a culture that we celebrate, especially. Exactly.
And I like that too, because when you get an answer right, isn't that's just a good feeling. I got the answer right. I know I'm learning more, or one, I know something about our culture, because a lot of times we, like you say, we disregard, our own history. But now you've given a correct answer. You're a strong member on the team, and it's encouraging you to learn more. So I like the sort of subtle concept of teaching that this game
Especially
provides.
for this season where it's anti-CRT. That was really a big, strong point for me. My mother is a teacher, so I know the value of education, especially with our youth. And
Hmm.
being able to impart into them the knowledge and history of who these singers are, what these
Right.
movies are, actors and actresses are. It gives them a sense of pride that really cannot be taken away, despite what they are teaching or not teaching in school. If they walk into any department store and they hear a song they know is a Black artist, that gives them a sense of pride that can't anyone take away.
Hmm. No, that's great. So where can we get the game, Nicole? Where can you get it?
Yeah, it's ordered online at blackholidaytrivia.com.
Wonderful. Okay, and I won't ask for the price, but I know it's reasonable. And are there any
Yeah.
of? Go ahead. You
Oh,
want
we're
to
actually
share
having a
that?
sale all the way until I believe the top of next week. So the game is on sale for $19.99. So
Oh,
very
good. Okay.
reasonable. The goal is to get it into Black families' hands because we want you guys to have some fun.
Right, right. No, that's exciting. I mean, there's a store actually. I'm kind of sad that they're going to be closing soon in our neighborhood, Nubian Human. But I'm for some reason I thought I may have seen the game there. I don't know. Are you in any retailers in the DC area?
So right now we are solely in African American museums. We partner with a few African American museums throughout the
Oh, good.
country. Um,
Okay.
they're stores to encourage people to get the game, but also go and view them. But we do hope to partner with more Black and African American owned businesses in the future because we do want to strengthen the dollar circulation in our community.
Yeah, and that's what I think that goes back to that network you were talking about earlier of just being able to locate, for creators to be able to find places to sell their wares. Of course, you can always do it online, and I love the fact that you're in the museum, so that's a good place for people to find you. It's just perfect. So, anything else you want to share before we
Yeah,
depart?
I just want to encourage people to play some games this holiday season. Definitely purchase our game, play our game, have some fun, learn some things. And for the question answers you don't know, make that your Christmas movie to watch with your family on Christmas Day.
Wonderful. And if people has, how folks always say, what she should have done was, well, is there a way to contact you, or just even to say how much they enjoyed the game? Is there
Yes,
a way to get to reach you?
yeah, our website has a contact form. Please send any questions or comments there. But then also our social media. We're on all social media sites at blackholidaytrivia.com. We tell people, please share the winners. Please share those family photos so that we can shout you guys out and just have some fun. It's really
Right.
about bringing some fun to Black families and Black friends this holiday season.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for being with us, Nicole Kuykendall. Did I do it right?
Yeah,
Okay, got it right.
got
Okay. Yeah. So Black Trivia, um, Black holiday trivia, a game I think that every family should have. And it would just say, enjoy the holidays and have some fun. So thank you so much.
back.
All
Awesome. Thank
righty.
you.
Okay. Take care. So yeah, we're going to stay in the holiday spirit, because we talked about Christmas fun, but this sounds like even a Kwanzaa fun celebration. So we're going to watch a quick video, and then I look forward to bringing on our two next guests. All right, Malachi Robinson and Rena Taylor, welcome to Win TV. How are you?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. Malachi, you're the director of the Creative Suitland Arts Center, and Rena, the program director. You're no strangers to Win TV. We had you on a couple years ago, I think, to talk about Kwanzaa as well. So tell us what's coming up this weekend.
Yeah, so us Creative Suitland, for those that don't know, we are a nonprofit arts-based organization, and pretty much our mission is to do exactly what we're talking about today. Bringing arts, culture, and these type of experiences to not only the Greater Suitland community, but just the Central Prince George's County, that section of the county at large. Just because there's just a lack of these type of experiences in our immediate community, so that's just our mission to do exactly that. And with our Kwanzaa celebration, we introduced this in 2019 in partnership with Substantial Art and Music. And we saw over 600 attendees over 2 days within our space. Us introducing Kwanzaa to those that probably haven't celebrated before, and also introducing a new way for folks to celebrate Kwanzaa within our space. We brought it back in 2020 as a virtual experience, of course, because of COVID. And then this past year, unfortunately, we had to take a hiatus just because another year of COVID. And, it was just too interesting of a decision to go either virtual or in person or do hybrid. So we were, just thought to take a break, bring it back this year. And here we are. So we're really excited to reintroduce it to the community. We've really grown our base over the past year through different activities that we've done over the past year. So we're looking forward to just, again, reintroduce this to our community.
And Rena, your theme this year is for the culture. I know sometimes coming up with a theme, you sit there for hours to come up with just one word or two words. So I know a lot of thought went into that, but what are you communicating through that theme?
The driving force behind it is just kind of bringing our traditional, which we've steered away from. We saw like a really, not necessarily low numbers, but not a lot of participation and talk around it. Post-pandemic, of course, you start getting things like TikTok and all of that coming out. So now people are becoming more aware of what it is that we do and our culture. We're so culturally rich, but a lot of times it kind of slips through the cracks. So giving Kwanzaa in the traditional sense, and then taking it and marrying it with what that looks like now in the future and our present. It's for the culture. It's for us. We're taking those traditions. We're making that celebration happen, and we're giving it our own spin.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. I mean, every day it's amazing because when Kwanzaa was first created or established by Ron Karenga out there in California, gosh, it must have been the early 70s, I'm thinking, late 60s. But, it took folks time to catch on, and you have these waves, and a lot of people, are traditional practitioners of Kwanzaa. So, but if you don't mind, can you just tell me, either one of you in your way, describe the holiday and what it means?
Yeah, just like you mentioned, this tradition was started in 1966, and it's grown and kind of evolved with the times. And myself, being somewhat aware of Kwanzaa growing up, I grew up as a Catholic. My mom was Catholic, so naturally, what we celebrated was Christmas and that tradition. Being exposed to Kwanzaa, this first year that we celebrated it in 2019 through Creative Suitland, I really saw it from a different lens. I took a little bit of step away from the really traditional Kwanzaa. I'm sorry, the traditional Christmas holiday, and really just opened up to what Kwanzaa really is about. It's not a religion. It's not a religious based tradition. It's more just about the community and culture, our culture, and taking from the different principles each day. For me, it's really important to instill that into my family and to my children in terms of what each principle means. And as we were talking about before, the beauty and what I find in Kwanzaa is that each family can make their own tradition based around, the Kwanzaa experience over those 7 days. Each principle, my favorite, of course, is creativity. So spending time with the family, creating anything, whether that's paintings or just taking time to just create things together or do things separately and come all together and celebrate, this, the the fact that we can create and have that as a gift. It's really all about making your own. I think that's the beauty in what we're doing at Creative Suitland, is packaging in this as a 2-day celebration of arts, culture, family, entertainment, and performances, and doing it in our unique way is, what we do best.
Yeah. And Rena, how long have you been actually engaged in Kwanzaa celebrations?
Oh,
And
cool.
what brought you to it?
So most of my life, I went to a predominantly Black school in Florida. So
Okay.
there were a lot of things that were taught to us that they didn't really teach mainstream. And of course, this is early 90s, so teachers could make their own curriculum at the time. So we got a chance. I'll never forget, my teacher was Miss Harris, and she was from Ghana, and everything for her was like, uniting the diaspora and what that meant. So I learned Kwanzaa early, but it never translated into my home. So we would have spots here and there. But now, as a mother with my own children, traditions are extremely important, especially because if COVID taught us nothing, we can lose people quickly. And then what happens to those legacies and those traditions? I don't want my children to have to scramble to figure something out. So instilling something in them and letting that tradition carry us over year by year, we build on it, we make it our own, and then it's something that they can pass on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an in and out thing for me, but I'm so happy to be back with it, especially now that you hear it a lot more. It's not so, almost like taboo and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, I when you think about it, again, I think I told you all earlier before we were on camera that I had started celebrating Kwanzaa probably in the late 70s. And yeah, you kind of, you're really focused on it because it just does provide sort of a roadmap for your life, especially at this time as you go into the new year. And I had to pull up my little cheat sheet here, but yeah, the seven. Well, I mean, one of you all may know them by heart, but I didn't want to put you on the spot. Of the 7 principles. So, should I use my cheat sheet, or you got it?
Use your cheat sheet.
Okay. All right. So the first day, Umoja, which is unity, and then Kujichagulia, self-determination, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, Ujama, cooperative economics, Nia, which is purpose, Kuumba, creativity, and the 7th principle, Amani, which is faith, right? I mean, Ron Karenga was, I think, a masterful when he came up with these principles that as we talked about earlier, Malachi, there's 7 days of Kwanzaa that start from December the 26th through January, is it the 2nd? First or second? Yeah. So, but this is, when you introduce it to your family, right? This is really a year-long, to me, sort of acknowledgement of how we should go about our days. And so while you all are doing your celebration this weekend, not necessarily at the time Kwanzaa really is officially recognized, it's still okay. It's good. So what's going to happen? What can folks look forward to this weekend?
Oh, it's a jam-packed with everything. We have Needham Baya, who you saw on the screen. They'll be doing a presentation of African drumming as well as African dance. We have Shanti Walker, a Madam Walker School of Hair and Art. They'll be doing a fashion presentation. So the traditional African meets, Afrofuturism with a hair and clothing presentation.
Wow.
I myself will also be performing some spoken word poetry. We have a artisan market on the next day where we will have Kwanzaa cultivated vendors, vendors from all across the DMV that are, honed in for community. And just, it is going to be amazing. Workshops, we have comedic yoga. We also, if you want to learn African dance and African drumming, we have that as well. We'll have an art installation, which is an interactive art tree where people can share their stories and their ancestry and just kind of making that connection between community and who we are as a people.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, and Malachi, can you give us the details again, where it's going to be, and if people need to buy tickets, or how do we participate?
Yes. So anyone that's interested, just go to our website, creativesuitland.org, to learn all about the 2-day event, which is happening this Saturday and Sunday, December 17th and 18th. If you're interested in coming on Saturday, it's an evening event from 5 to 8. Yes, it is a ticket event, and what you get for that, we have a catered reception from Spice Kitchen West African Grill. We wanted to provide somewhat of a food from the diaspora within the reception, so we're looking forward to having that. And then you have a 2-hour experience, performances and live painting, etc. Sunday, it's mostly a free event, free RSVP for the market. The workshops are ticketed just because the funds are going to support the artists that are facilitating the workshops. So if you want to learn more about it, just go to our website. Information's right there, creativesuitland.org, and it's at Creative Suitland. It's right here in the heart of Suitland, Silver Hill Road, and we're right across from the Census Bureau. It's kind of hard to miss our building because it's this beautiful, vibrant mural that's on the facade of our building.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it sounds like it's a must-bring kids event, children event. It's a family-oriented event, so you want the whole entire family to show up. That am I correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So are there things for the children to do in addition to just being there?
On Saturday, I mean, if you're bringing the kids, they can, of course, dance along with the dancers. I mean, that's perfectly accepted. And then Sunday, we have from 12 to 2, we have a group coming in from PG Parks and Rec. They do free arts and crafts every weekend at Creative Suitland. They do it Saturdays normally from 12 to 2, but we're bringing them back on Sunday as well to do the same thing from 12 to 2, just free arts and crafts. And it'll be, of course, Kwanzaa themed crafts.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It was a good dress rehearsal for the actual Kwanzaa celebration.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, for people who, we've got the candle holder, the Kanara, I believe it is, and other things that sort of go along with if you want to have a celebration at home. Will those items be available for purchase at this event?
Yeah, we do have one vendor that sells Kwanzaa memorabilia and crafts related to the holiday. It is very hard to find.
Yeah.
Like really specific Kwanzaa related items, but yeah, we do have one vendor that will be selling it this weekend.
People are running high and low just to find that one black candle.
Yes.
So if anybody's got candles out there, let us know. That'll be great. Well, I'm really happy that you all could come and spend a little bit of time with us to talk about this great event. And I hope folks will show up in mass and, that it's really successful. I'm glad you're doing it. So thanks for coming by.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. Yes.
Okie doke. All right. Go to work. All righty. I don't know if Santa's with us. I know we were expecting him, but there, Santa. How are you?
Hello there, Denise. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
I got a question for you before you have a question for me.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
So the question is, have you been naughty or have you been nice? Now,
Santa.
Don't tell a fib.
I know. I've tried so hard to be nice. I think I've been nice, Santa. Honestly, I try really hard to be nice. So, but I'm being honest. Maybe somewhere along the way.
Okay. That'll get you something.
Okay.
Being honest, it'll get you something.
So how you've been busy already this season, right?
Well, we started making toys. The elves are always busy. Mrs. Claus and the elf, I'm checking the list. I gotta check the list. But the elves have been busy. And so, we start a little early and ask people to hide this stuff when we bring it by, right?
Uh-huh.
And so we've been all over Ward 8, Jolly Jubilee and Handel's Messiah performance. We were there playing with the kids and giving out some small things. We had an opportunity to really, just bounce around Ward 8.
Nice. What Santa, are the kids asking for anything in particular?
iPads. And
iPads?
Yeah, they want the iPads. That's the number one thing. I every event I had at least 6 or 7 8 to 10-year-olds, and that's the no. I asked, so what's the most important gift you want from Santa? Would you like Santa to bring you? And almost, 10 kids out of every bunch, they want iPads. They want iPads.
Wow.
So we got to figure out how we get more iPads. The elves, they don't make those. We got to we got to go to Amazon or something.
Wow. So what's the second item? Is a second one?
So the second item, is especially if you got to talk girls and boys now.
Okay. All right.
So when you talk about little girls, the second item is always dolls, some type of doll.
Nice. Okay.
That's the second item. And for boys, the second item is either fourth night without, that little
Fortnite. Yeah.
And electronic cars. They like the cars.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's good. It's good that they've been, putting their list together, and when they see you, they get a chance to give you specifically what they want.
Yes.
So, Stuart, I'm going from Santa to Stuart now as you adjust your costume here. But, you have become sort of the anointed Santa for this community. What does that mean to you?
It brings some joy and pride to me that so many people want me specifically to play Santa, to come and interact with the children and events and parties. I did the Democratic State Committee, and people did not know it was me. I also work for the Anacostia Coordinating Council, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them, because it is because of the Anacostia Coordinating Council that I'm even doing this.
Nice,
yes.
Nice.
And so ACC partners with 7D every year to give toys to needy children throughout Ward 8.
And 7D meaning the 7th District Police Department.
Metropolitan Police Department, 7th District, which is located on Alabama Avenue. And so this year, as they had in most years, not every year, they had their party at the Panorama Room, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And there were like almost 70 kids came in. And I wish that I could share videos with you. I don't have them. I got to get them. I keep telling people, send them to me, because these young children from kindergarten to 5th grade, they all want to touch Santa. And they like to knock me down 3-4 times. They just all want. And I mean, these children were so excited about not just a Santa, but a Black Santa.
Wow.
And he was crying. We had kids was literally crying.
Wow.
And I that was so amazing to experience that, be a part of it, and be like the catalyst for it. So it's just been great just in this role in my 2.5 years of doing this stuff.
Well, it's really good, because a lot of people, Santas have been missing, and folks have had a hard time trying to find them. So it's good that this community has its own Santa, Santa Stuart Anderson.
Yeah.
So, that's a great thing. And I really appreciate you. I know your schedule is getting busier and busier as we get closer to December 25th. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. Any message you have for people out there, who just haven't put their list together and hoping you're going to drop by?
Well, you got to put your list together early and get it to the North Pole, so we can process it and everything, and we get it done. But the number one thing is that you got to be good. You can't be naughty. You got to be nice. You got to be nice to people. That's part of what this whole Christmas atmosphere is all about. Being nice to one another and giving something genuinely from the heart to someone less fortunate than yourselves. That's what Kris Kringle was all about. Trying to make sure that some of the people less fortunate than themselves got some stuff around this time. And then, there's the spiritual side of it that is a little estranged from this gift-giving stuff. And it's the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. So there you have it. Be nice and be kind to each other.
Thank you, Santa Stuart, or Santa Stu. Thank you so much for being with us today. That last part, I think, is really important, to be nice. And so we will remember that, because we want you to come by and drop something off. So we're going to do our best.
I think I'm gonna be your way shortly. I don't know. I'll be up that way. I think I'm coming that way.
All right. Well, you got a week to get here, so
Happy
anytime.
holidays. I'm gonna swing through. I promise.
All righty.
We can work it out.
Thank you so much, Stu. All righty. So I feel really special to have had Santa to come by and to have, an early Kwanzaa celebration. So all of the things are wrapped up into one, and we're going to have a great holiday season. I really hope so. I want to throw in here quickly, and I don't know how Chevy's going to manage this, because we had a couple of interviews we wanted to use. So hopefully we might still have time to get them in. But I also wanted to mention to you that the National Park Service will be having an event at the Carter G. Woodson House. Dr. Woodson's birthday is December the 19th. Dr. Woodson was the founder of Black History Week, which later turned into Black History Month, which now we celebrate 365 days a year, thanks to the organization he started, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, ASALH. So ASALH will be joining the National Park Service this Saturday at 101 N Street Northwest. I think I've got that right. And so we hope that you can come, actually participate in that event, get a chance to go by the Carter G. Woodson home, which is right there near Shiloh Baptist Church. So if you're at Busy Bees, you might want to just come on up to this birthday celebration honoring Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Thank you so very much. I'm just glad we were able to get that in there. And we'll be talking more about Dr. Woodson as soon as we get closer to Black History Month. So having said that, Chevy, are we going to go to one of our videos now? Because we can put that up. And again, we had one interview with a 9-year-old actor who's playing in the film Emancipation, and then Brenda Siler, who is also interviewing Carmen Lundy, who's going to be performing here in a week. So let's go with it. It is my pleasure to introduce to our viewers here at WIN TV, Jordyn McIntosh, an up-and-coming actor, and who has performed. If folks have not seen Emancipation, you need to see it. Jordyn, I've seen it twice. And yes, I have. And I look forward to seeing you as well in Abbott Elementary. I understand you're going to be performing in that as well. So tell us, who is Jordyn McIntosh?
A 9-year-old girl that is very happy, loving, energetic, and crazy energy.
How did you begin or know that you had an interest in acting, and what are some of the things you've done so far?
In pre-K, I was a very energetic girl. Like, I was out of my seat, singing, dancing, being crazy around the classroom. So then my dad signed me up for acting classes, and then I just fell in love with it. I was like, wow, Dad, I love this. Thank you so much for signing me up for this. So I kept getting auditions and auditions and auditions until I finally booked my first ever role.
And what was that?
I played Sasha Obama in The First Ladies with Miss Viola Davis and Mr. O.T. Fink Bentley.
Tell me what that experience was like.
Very fun. I got to play Michelle Obama's youngest daughter, and it was really fun filming with Miss Viola Davis and Mr. O.T.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So, I mean, you don't appear to be the kind of person who gets really nervous or anything like that. So how did you overcome that?
I mean, at first I was a little nervous, like, wow, first interview. I mean, not first interview. wow, this is my first interview that I'm actually like on TV. So I was a little nervous for a second, but then I was like, these are people that are very nice. There's nothing to worry about. If I forget something or something, just move on.
Wonderful. I mean, so as I said, I saw Emancipation twice. And the last time was last night. And would I see it again? Of course I would. And I got a chance to see you. The part that you played as the daughter, right, of Peter Gordon, was a pretty tough role. The story is a pretty tough story. And I'm just wondering, when you got the opportunity to be in this film, which a lot of people, may not want to watch because they're just saying, oh, another slave movie. I don't want to read about slavery. I don't want to know about it. It's in the past. But what would you say to folks like that?
Like, I would say to people, like, I mean, it's just a movie. It was made in 2022. Of course, it wasn't really at that time. It was just all fake and filmed. At that time, it was kind of scary filming because I had to actually look back at what happened in this time. But it's a good movie. It was very fun working, and yeah.
What was it like working with Will Smith?
Amazing. He is super nice and super funny. Like, I love his energy. He is like, he's great.
Wow, wonderful. So who are some of the folks in acting or in the arts who inspire you?
Can I say I don't have an answer for that question?
Yes, you can. Yes. I mean, because there are, well, you mentioned Viola Davis, for example, right? And she's become a true inspiration to some people because of the roles that she's played. And again, she's played some tough roles. Did you get a chance to see The Woman King?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a pretty tough movie too. And but what was it like being in a movie with her?
It was really great. I mean, I'm like, wow. First audition, first TV show, and it's with someone famous. Like, this is crazy.
So another one of my favorite shows is Abbott Elementary. I watch it a lot. It's my, it kind of brings me down, but it, relaxes me a little bit because it's fun, it's funny, and it's serious too, because it is all about, what we see in schools, particularly schools that don't have resources and all of that. So what can we look forward to seeing Jordyn doing in Abbott Elementary?
You can look forward to see me arguing with my worst enemy and having food fights and stuff.
What is your I mean, does it have you already played a role? Have you already performed in it yet?
No, this was my first Abbott Elementary episode.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, did it really remind you of school?
Yes.
How so?
Because there was like the set, I felt like I'm like, wow, I just left school, but now I'm coming back to school.
Uh-huh.
And the set, it looked just like a school. Like, I felt like I was in a real school. Like, as soon as I walked into the classroom, I'm like, wow, this is school.
When I think about it, Jordyn, you would have been in 3 productions that I can think of where the stars are Oscar winners, including Shirley Ralph. Did you get a chance to meet her in Abbott Elementary? She plays one of the teachers.
Yes.
Or the I forget the role. She's not the principal, but she plays one of the teachers there. Yeah. You have been in the company of some amazing actors. How does that feel?
Amazing. I'm like, every single movie or TV show or audition I get, I'm like, famous person? Wow. I also auditioned for a Christmas movie with Kevin Hart. I'm like, another famous person.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes, yeah. I mean, you are just moving on up. So when Jordyn isn't acting and in school, what does Jordyn do to make Jordyn happy?
What I do is usually I like just do what a normal kid does, just play with my friends, hang out. But also we like just play some games. I play the bass guitar also.
Okay.
And I also sing a lot, even though my parents told me to stop. And I just love to play with my sister, and I just basically live a normal life.
Wonderful. Well, that's why you've created the great opportunity for me to bring in Micha Green, who is the editor of the Washington Informer. I'm the publisher, but she's the editor. And we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that she sang and she danced. And I don't know, do you play an instrument, Micha?
I used to play drums. I haven't done so in so long that I would be embarrassed to even be caught near a drum set. But, back in the day, Jordyn and I could have had a cool band.
Well, thanks for correcting me, because I said Shirley Ralph won an Oscar, but she won an Emmy. But she's still, that's amazing for Abbott Elementary. I know you have some things you want to talk to Jordyn about, Micha.
Well, sure. So, Jordyn, I told you about my arts background, but what I didn't say is that I was also an arts teacher. So sometimes I love to play like fun icebreakers that is in word association games. So can we do that for like 10 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, so that means the word association game is basically like if I say a word, you say the first word that comes to your mind. Does that make sense? So like if I say pizza, you would say whatever comes to your mind. Okay. Sound good? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's first start with acting.
Movies. The
Ooh.
silver screen.
Oh, okay. Will Smith.
Good actor. Emancipation.
Well, emancipation was going to be my next word, so I'm going to still do it. Emancipation.
Freedom.
Ooh. I think that's a good place to stop, Jordyn. That was deep, girl. Okay, so I have to ask you, did you learn anything from working on the set as Emancipation in the role of Lorette?
I learned a little bit. I learned about some Harriet Tubman in school, so I've known a little bit when I got on set, but then when I got on set, it's like I went straight back to school like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like the second I stepped into the mud, wow, this is what it was like.
Mm. And do you feel like being on that set and in that world has sort of informed who you are since playing that role? Has it changed you in any way or made you move in the world differently?
It made me think about like, this was so wrong back then. Why would people even do this? Like, that's just messed up.
Yeah. And if there's one thing you can say to folks out there about why they should see this film, what would it be?
I really want them to watch this film because I want them to learn about how it was back in slavery times and how the enslaved people were and how hard it was for people to do all of the master's dirty work.
Yeah. All right. So fun transition before we go. What is Jordyn's dream role?
I mean, my dream role is to work with Emma Watson.
Ooh.
Hi, Emma Watson. And that's pretty much it.
Yep. I am helping you manifest that. Hey, Emma Watson. Hopefully she's tuning in, or somebody that can get Jordyn a little shout out to Emma Watson's way. Jordyn, I am just so proud of you. Everyone at the Washington Informer is congratulations on this amazing opportunity. And I know that you are going to continue slaying the game. Is there anything else you want to plug that you're working on?
That's pretty much it.
Well, I want to ask because, and then we'll go, but you mentioned that your father got you into this.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I'm sure he's probably, you seem like you're really excited that he saw the gift in you. And so anything you want to say about your dad?
I want to say he is a very sweet person, and I love to have him in my life.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. As he stands over, I guess he's over on your left over there, watching the interview. Hey, Dad, thank you. Thank you for sharing your dream with the rest of us. We appreciate you. So we wish you much success, as Micha said. And, when you go out there on that big screen, don't forget us, okay? We're here at the Washington Informer. Just remember, every time we call, we're going to call you and say, can we do another interview? So,
okay.
Yes, all right. Wonderful. We wish you so much more success and look forward to seeing you just grow and develop and become the great star that you already are.
Okay.
All righty. All right. Take care.
So much.
You're welcome.
You.
Good afternoon and welcome to this session of Win TV. We are interviewing the phenomenal Carmen Lundy. She's been in the business of music and jazz for many years. She's going to be in town New Year's Eve at the Kennedy Center. You know you don't want to miss that. So we are excited to have her here with us on Win TV. I'm Brenda Siler. Let's bring on Carmen Lundy right now. Carmen, how are you?
It's wonderful to be with you too. I'm excited to be returning to Washington, D.C. and the great venue of the Kennedy Center Performing Arts.
And one of the things that we want to do is talk about your new CD, Fade to Black. You were just nominated for a Grammy Award. Congratulations. And you are the composer, the arranger of this, your 16th CD. Tell us about your approach to what I consider to be a masterpiece.
Wow, the approach. I guess the approach is just getting up every day, getting up, putting some clothes on, and going for it another time. There was nothing particularly unique moving into this process. However, there's nothing like a pandemic to force us to focus on what our true end of the day, start of the day values are. I think that's what happened to me. I think the pandemic, everyone just kind of sitting out of some sense of concern for what's ahead, and of also being able to reflect on the moment and the times that we're living in a way that I don't think I could have had I been on the road trying to make a new record, a new project. But I will remind everyone that it's a result of a grant that I received in 2019 from Chamber Music America. And 2019, but because of the pandemic, the deadline was pushed back several times. This ended up being a godsend in and of itself because I had so many things occurring during the time that affected the writing. I lost my brother, my youngest brother, Freddie, right before vaccines were created for the virus. So I lost my youngest brother suddenly. And then the following year, the same exact month, I lost a sister. And in that time frame, I had another dear personal friend and partner diagnosed with cancer. So it's like, and then we had the George Floyd incident and this horror happening to our planet, our world. And then we saw everybody out in the streets during COVID protesting. So how could I look the other way?
And you're going to be here. Carmen is going to be here coming up at the end of this month on New Year's Eve. So get ready for that. Fade to Black, everybody, is Carmen Lundy's latest CD. She's been nominated for a Grammy. She's coming in town for New Year's Eve. And you need to get it now so that when you hear her perform those numbers in person, you're going to just kind of relax in your chair and say, oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
There's a lot about the way we have come to know the Black experience in the modern world that simply I find them to be without real, they don't make sense. Yes, you can follow history and say, okay, yeah, this is and I know my history, but there's something about the fallout, if you will, from our first Black president, a time that we celebrated beyond, just beyond excitement and joy for this moment in history, only to find the fallout to be something that was just in and of itself a disgrace to everything that this country supposedly holds itself up to be. And when I heard about this awful thing that happened in Minnesota, I think that day I went to my computer and just clicked to see what the fuss was about. Like, what's all of this? Here we go again. I can remember how I was so I just remember being so emotionally broken down, like so deeply disillusioned to witness such a horror. And for a long time, I could not shake it. And it didn't seem to end there. It didn't start there. It was just one more. But this seemed to be beyond the imaginable or the imagined. So I think what happened for me was when the lawyer Crump started insisting that we say the names of these individuals who suffered needlessly. When you say it out loud and you claim the life and the spirit and the soul of that person, then at the same time, you uphold the power within all of us to know and feel and understand that there's a better way. And the choice that we make when we choose to treat people this way is totally it's just not something that it should be of our modern life, our modern world. We should have enough information now, in my opinion, to know better, but we simply don't. So I thought, well, this is a kind of a risk for me, but at the same time, it isn't, because it could be me next. And if it's so special to be in the 21st century and to be so a part of all these wonderful new technological advances and all the things that we've accomplished in the human race. So why are we still doing this? And why is it always people that look like that? And why is it always those people, those young, beautiful people that are always having a perspective on life that leaves them walking in fear when we're supposed to be in a place that's all about freedom? There were so many whys, there were so many whens and who and hows. There were so many questions that I didn't have answers to. So I don't have the answers, but I know one thing. I know that I can, as an artist, representing this great music that is a result of the Black diaspora entering this new world, I could not call attention to it in a way that was from an artistic perspective. Nina Simone has always reminded us that part of our job as artists is to sing and speak and talk of now and to bring the now into the music. and into the expression. Yes, there's a risk. Yes, there's the chance that I could be misinterpreted, but the sincerity is there. And I didn't make this up. I mean, this is the truth before us all. I wanted to contextualize that in a way that gave us all a breath. So at the end of the recording, I asked everybody in the studio, come into the studio. Here's a name. Let's say their names. Let's just say their names, everybody. And there was no, it wasn't like we're pointing at each other. There was no direction whatsoever. Mm-hmm. At that point in the recording session, we all understood, as you do, and that's all of us who are alive and well aware, we all knew that moment. Then we claimed it. And it was a beautiful moment at the recording session, because when we were done, there was a solemn energy that overcame all of us. There was a complete silence, but solemn, and a state of being transfixed, because we collectively lifted up the spirit through the names of these individuals who have suffered. And I just hope that I never have to consider doing something like that again.
We are glad that we've had this time with you, Carmen, and hopefully some of our viewers are discovering you, and we'll have a chance to pick up your new CD, Fade to Black. Folks, Carmen Lundy is going to be performing at the Kennedy Center for New Year's Eve, but you don't have to wait to hear her name. Pick up Fade to Black, because you will enjoy it. She's phenomenal. Obviously, you can tell she's an upbeat lady. She's got a lot of energy. And thank you so much, Carmen, for spending time with us today on WIN TV. All the best to you. And I look forward to seeing you New Year's Eve.
Okay, check out my artwork behind me on the CD cover and the car center. Thanks so much, Brenda. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.